All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Gar Capital. Glad to be with you this morning and every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the YouTube channel. Happy Monday, everybody. It is January 8th, 2024. First full week of trading. No holidays this week of 2024. Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 10,000 subs. We're right at, I want to say, 8608. So again, if you know anyone who would be interested in watching these videos and learning a little bit, really appreciate if you shared the word and get some subscribers into our channel for us. Really do appreciate it. Again, 10K is the goal for subscribers by the end of 2024. Let's see if we do it. Let's go and get started. Dow futures are down 126 points. Most of that is Boeing. Just a heads up, there was obviously what happened over the weekend with that door latch breaking off during mid-flight. So Boeing and some of the airlines are taking a hit this morning. Let's take a look at the headlines rather quickly. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so they grounded the 737 MAXs. Stop me if you've even heard that before. United and Alaska Airlines most affected by 737 MAX's latest grounding. United Airlines was down 3%. Alaska Airlines down about 5.1%. And Boeing at the time of that writing was down 8.7% pre-market. One of the worst gap downs on Boeing pre-market since May of 2020. So that says a lot on what's happening. We'll see how it goes towards the day. Boeing was one of the top 10 stocks of 2023. It's not on the list for 2024, so at least that. But I mean, pretty ugly price action. Obviously, when you get the door blown off of an airplane in midair, this is what's going to happen. NASDAQ futures up 21 points. Apple was reiterated as a buy by JP Morgan Chase. S&P is slightly green. Russell futures up 0.21, down 0.21%. 1962. 10-year Treasury yields above 4%. We got a 10-year Treasury auction on Wednesday. I talked about the upcoming economic data and reports and earnings on our last video. If you are interested, make sure to take a look at our latest YouTube videos. We did the recap for the week and preview of the next week. The dollar is flat, 102.38. The VIX up 3.37% at 1380. Crude oil is down 3.83% on a headline that the Saudis lowered oil prices. Let me get that for you. Here, Saudis cut crude prices to all regions amid oil price weakness. We also had a headline on Sunday. Congressional leaders reach $1.59 trillion deal on top-line spending, paved the way to deal to fund the government. So that's a good sign that we're not going to get a government shutdown. In terms of other headlines here, Lululemon raised their Q4 guidance, $3.17 billion to $3.19 billion from its previous forecast of $3.135 billion to $3.17 billion. Lulu projects its Q4 EPS to come in between $4.96 and $5 from previous expectations of $4.85 and $4.93. Apple iPhone sales in China fall 30% in the first week of 2024. That was by Jefferies. That's a stock we'll be watching closely. I talk about that on the video. Bitcoin is above 45,000. I'm not sure at this very moment, but when I typed it this morning, that's where it was. BlackRock fee for the Bitcoin ETF, 0.3%, 0.25% for VanEck, Wisdom Tree, 0.5%. The Bitcoin ETF approval odds have been raised to 90% at Bloomberg. Microsoft Q cells strike massive supply deal for U.S.-made solar panels. So maybe those solar panel stocks, alternative energy stocks, might catch a bid. Microsoft's up this morning. And Tesla, Elon Musk's drug use is the latest headache for Tesla's board. That's from Bloomberg. Elon Musk claims not even trace amount of drugs in his system after report detailed drug concerns from Tesla, SpaceX execs. That's from Forbes. We also had some biotech and pharma mergers and acquisitions. Johnson & Johnson agreed to acquire AMAM for $2 billion or $20 a share. Merck struck a deal to buy Harpoon Therapeutics, ticker HARP, $680 million or $23 a share. And Boston Scientific will acquire Axonics, AXNX for $3.7 billion in cash or $71 a share. So we're starting to see the consolidation of these biotech and healthcare names. That's a sector that I'll be watching very, very closely in 2024. The video that we are going to post out this week is the preview of 2024 sectors and what we're expecting throughout the year. So it'll be a great video. We'll get that out to you guys. Make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Gold futures are down this morning 1.13% at 2026. Gasoline futures down 3.84% at $2.02 a gallon. 23.15 for silver futures down 0.66%. Copper up 0.13% at $3.81. Euro dollar 109.54 up 13 pips in Forex land. 144.45 down 16 pips for dollar yen. Dollar Canadian dollar 133.93 up 31 pips this morning. 127.13 flat for the pound dollar. Bitcoin futures 45,375. That's up 2.23%. Ethereum 22.86 up 0.77%. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's answer some questions rather quickly. Brittany's asking, do you think the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference is going to go make the stock go up or down today? Well, if you're talking about JPM itself, it's really going to be based on earnings that are upcoming on Friday. So if anything, we're expecting a continuation of the run-up and then possibly a sell-off onto Friday in terms of after the fact, after the earnings, unless they're coming stellar. I have an alert at 173.38. If that breaks out, then we're taking a look at the 175 calls, maybe buy some time, take a look at the volume. We're going to keep an eye on the financials today and see how their volume comes out the gate. We caught Citibank last week. If Citibank breaks 54.75, we'll be keeping an eye on it. But that's going to be more of the focus for JPM rather than the healthcare conference. Just really the earnings. Thoughts on calls for NVIDIA based on this morning's news? Let's see it. NVIDIA, I still have an alert at 500. That seems to be that line in the sand. Once you break 505.48 or so, that's where you could start taking a look. Here, it would be kind of expensive unless you're targeting 510, and you have to do this week. The only issue is that NVIDIA is just, again, it's just pricey. So I'd rather take a look at other semiconductor chip companies. 142.21 is my alert for AMD. If that breaks, I'm keeping an eye on the 145 calls, and plus they're cheaper. We can also use this 20-day moving average as our pivot, 138.58. We can use that as our stop, and there's a gap at 147.02. So I like AMD more than NVIDIA in terms of trading. Personally, it's cheaper, and we've done a lot better with it. Thoughts on Apple calls? Yep, we talked about Apple this weekend as well. We have a gap to fill to the upside right at 190, 193. We're below a 30 RSI. Get me above 182.73. I'll take a look at the 185 calls, and we'll go from there. You have your next resistance right around 187.40. The stock is up this morning, but we still need to get above that 100-day moving average around 182.32. So let's give it some time and see what Apple can give us today. Would you buy BABA long-term here? Let's take a look at it. No, I wouldn't buy BABA here long-term for the fact that it continues to sink. It's below the 20-day moving average. You got to get above that 20 and at least above the 50. So above 80, I prefer a better, at least confirmation of more upside. But if anything, looks like we're still kind of sinking down on BABA. So you're just going to have to wait on that so you can see if you can get a better price. But the 20-day moving average is our momentum indicator. Yes, we have gaps to the upside, but it needs to get out of its own way. It needs to bounce first before we start taking a look at possibly buying some more on Alibaba. So that's where we are this morning. Let's take a look rather quickly on some pre-market movers. Let's check this out. All right, let's see what the Dow has for us. Pre-market. All right, so Boeing, as we know, down 7.63%. Apple's up 0.43%. Intel up 0.85%. So the semiconductors getting a little bit of love. Chevron's down 1.25%. Obviously, with crude oil being down, thank you to the Saudis. Let's see the S&P 500. American Airlines up 2.46%. They don't got Boeing 737 Maxes. So what does that mean? They're going to get more market share. So American Airlines on the rise. Enphase Energy. We just talked about that solar panel deal. Alternative energy is going to bid today. Enphase is up 2.6% today, at least on that news that just came out. AMD up 1.18%. Amazon up 0.32%. NVIDIA's up nearly 1% this morning. And Carnival being very, very cyclical, up 0.5%. So even after kind of last week's fall, finally everyone's back in the office. Kids are back in school, kind of sort of thing. Back to normal. First full week of 2024. Tesla's down 0.11%. PDD down 2.24% this morning. Alphabet is flat. PayPal up 0.2. Nothing that really stands out like crazy other than Boeing from obviously what happened. But AAL is interesting. Let's see how they're looking this morning. American Airlines, see if we can kind of trade anything here. Well, we'll say we're at 14 or 13.98. There you go. This is your resistance. That is that 20-day moving average. How about if we break the 200-day on AAL at 14.23, we can target the 15 calls or the 14 and a halves right around 14.65. This would be my target here, that 38.2 fib. So again, get us above that 200-day on AAL, American Airlines. That would be the target, the 15 calls. But let's see if we get any volume there. DAL is up slightly as well. They're above the 20-day moving average. I got an alert at 42.71 for a break. But AAL, Apple, they're both going to be on my watch list. So is AMD. AMD were great last year, so obviously we want to keep an eye on that. DraftKings still got those calls for March. So 33.61, that's our level for the break, and we should be able to catch that as we're getting into the playoff season for the NFL. We have the national championship tonight. Maybe we get some news on people betting on that Michigan-Washington game. Maybe that could boost DraftKings up till tomorrow and gap it up. We'll see. But we'll take it step by step again. It is a new week. First full week of the year. How exciting. Ready to go. MSTR, again, that's up pre-market about $6. Let's take a look at Mara, the other Bitcoin proxy. That's up about 70 cents. I got an alert at 28 for a break on Mara. If we take a look at Coinbase, I think Needham made a note on Coinbase as well. If we can get a little bit of a pop here on Coinbase, we could trade it. There is no gaps to fill that I see. Still got to get above around 158 or so, that 20-day moving average, before we do anything. So Bitcoin proxies are starting to move, but I still think that once that ETF is approved, it might be a sell the news event. So I'm kind of just not ignoring, but keeping an eye on the Bitcoin stuff and the proxy stocks. But for the most part, I think there's better opportunities out there. Let's take a look at NEO. NEO below $8, not the best. Let's take a look at the daily. You're still above the 50-day moving average, at least something, but you're below the 20, so we need to see how we open up on this name for continuance. Got to get above 858. That's the key for more upside. Okay, I think that's where we are. That's where we are for the day. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your morning and your day. I will catch the team on the radio later on the Discord. If you are interested in joining us on the Discord for our free live market blog, make sure to take a look at the description box below. Hello, happy Monday, and just get back to work. That's what it is. Ready to go. Let's make it a great week, and we will see you tomorrow for the next morning note. Have a great rest of your morning. We'll see you then. Cheers.